Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. Somebody sent me this logo. It is only, well, mine is. Let's see what his original was. Um, 4.5 inches tall. He's putting it on a Yeti cup, and in the from what I understand, the train engine just becomes a black blob because the parts are so small they just kind of burn away. I've done the engine. I could do a little bit better. I I would redraw this part because this is going to give us some problems. I did not finish the city and some of the tracks, um, but it'd be the same principle. So luckily, he sent me the both ones. I'm going to go to group and ungroup. So this is all one piece now. I'm going to go ahead and kind of move it out of the way. For the one I'm doing it for, set your duplicate distance on 0, 0. And since this thing is a little over 4, we're going to set our nudge factor on 5 because we're going to do some nudging. Now, the wording is fine, I would think, and I actually think these would be fine. First of all, we're going to ungroup it. And one of the part of the problems might be that this is a half a point. So that takes up space, even though it's filled, it takes up space. So you want all your parts to be a half an inch or a hairline because they won't engrave, but we're going to, the color field is going to, well, let's just look at the difference between, let's take this part right here and make it back to that half point. See the space the outline takes up? So we're ahead of the ball game because when we fill this in with black, if we would have filled it in, well, let's do this one in a hairline, and then let's take this one, well, not just particularly that one, and then see they're already touching because of the hairline. So if we fill that one in with black, they're touching. If we do them all in hairline, they're not touching. So I think the top part is fine, all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, just for ease, I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way. And I'm just right clicking my right arrow key. I forgot to do it on that one. Just make sure you get them all. And you can tell right there, which ones you haven't gotten yet. I forgot to move that one too. When I was doing it earlier, it just came naturally, but it's actually slowing down the computer a little bit. I don't know why. It should fill that in faster. But what we're going to do, we want those parts separated from the other parts of the locomotive. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm just clicking. Well, can't do it and talk. I'm just clicking my right arrow key, moving them over, nudging them the same distance every time. So it's going to be exactly where it was. I'm not really concerned about the text right now. And you would do the same thing for the locomotive. But now what I can do is I can get rid of these. And so they won't be in the way. It really might not even matter. But I'm going to get rid of all the ones I colored in because I've got them again. And now they're out of the way. So if I left click, and I'm going to do everything in a red hairline, make it a hairline. I'm going to just move the text over. And since I'm nudging, it'll be perfect. Now, if we look here and nudge that over, it's all one piece. So go to Object, Group. I'm not going to ungroup all. I'm going to just ungroup. And I'm going to take the engine itself. Now there's some pieces I didn't get. So I'm going to nudge them over. I'm going to go ahead and nudge that over. And I'm going to leave the numbers right now alone. So there is an outline around this thing. And if we go and click on it, we go to Object, Break Curve Apart, try to grab the outline. Now these are all interior pieces. So right now, one, I'm going to make sure they're a hairline, and they are, but I'm going to make them red. And I'm going to go to Object and group them together so the contour tool will work. Now this is pretty little, so you really have to watch what you contour or how much. So I'm going to go to Effects and Contour. I'm going to contour 0.015 in black with rounded corners. Now that might be too much, but he can decide and test on that. I'm going to go and break the contour apart, and I'm going to grab, and I want the black one. So it went down, so now I'm good. So there is my new engine. And if we bring in the outline, it's going to be a lot less. Now, we're going to have to smart fill this. But because we contoured a little bit, we're running into pieces. And I like this side much better than the other side. So I'd almost redraw it. It has to do with the way the direction of is looking, but these parts are, they're welded together kind of like. So we can eliminate that by taking the Smart Fill tool, or I changed your drawing tool to well, I didn't. I changed it earlier, but I backed up. I'm going to hit F12 on the keyboard, say okay, and I'm going to go hairline. And then I can draw, and what that's going to do, that's going to stop that from filling that in, and then it's going to have a leak right here. So I'm going to stop that. Now, any place that it's touching, it's going to do that. So now we're going to take the Smart Fill tool and individually fill in. We can either do it that way, or we could fill in the other parts, just depending on preference of the item. Now, what I'd also suggest is that when we get to the part where there is like this line right here, we can't fill that in because it's going to fill that in. So there's a way around that. So I'm just going to fill in some other things. See, I was afraid of that because see, we've got them welded pieces up there, and that has to do with because we contoured so much. So let's try this now. There we go. That looks pretty good. Then I would just contour some of these little pieces, or not contour, Smart Fill. Now the parts that are welded, we could change. So anything that isn't going to be, see if I can't, I would actually probably take that out. It's not even really there. You know, if we fill in this, it's going to leak. So what we could do here is take the 2-point line and stop it from leaking right there. That hopefully that's the only part. That looks pretty good. Now if we do the same thing here, and we're going to get rid of that line in just a second. So now I can Smart Fill, and it's just personal preference, what you think looks the best. Now, we've left this circle, so I'm going to just move that circle over. And because I'm nudging, everything's perfect. Smart Fill tool and fill in your numbers. And try to fill in that little spot. That again might be too little. I would just maybe just cut it out. Take your Smart Fill tool, fill in your numbers. And you could put another circle around here and do whatever you want. So now when you click this, you could right-click fill, and, 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 let's do one more thing. Let's move this over, and let's see if we can't move the engine over. We really want to get red. We want that outline, but I'm going to move it over. Well, it doesn't even look like it's, yeah, it's an outline of it. A lot of the outline we don't really want to move because it'll take up space. So I'm just going to go through here, and that's one thing we could have smart filled it and nudged it at the same time. So I'm just going to move over the smart field basically, and it's going to leave those lines. But what I want to do, don't let me forget to do one thing. We're going to use some of the outline for the shape of the engine. One more spot, and we'll put the numbers over there. We'll go ahead and leave that. See, I'm leaving the outline. Okay. Now what we're going to, there's a couple of clouds. And you would do the same thing to this, contour it and make it different. Let's go ahead and fill these in and move them over, because they've been contoured too. Now what we're going to want to do is get rid of the engine, everything that's in here, because now we can take, okay, that is a text, so it will not delete, so we can just hit delete, and we're going to get rid of that. Now we can take this and fill it in with black and take away the outline. I think there's some more detail I'm missing, you know, like right up in here that we could go back and get. You know, just nudge it over. I must have been nudging it down. What'd I do? There we go. This is where you want to probably take this whole thing and nudge it closer. And then just kind of look. So that looks pretty good. You could get this other one. That's a ring. You know, the more you put in there, closer it's going to be, though. There's a little part right here we can move over. You could probably take that. Maybe, and you just have to look at it. Yeah, we need to add that detail of that smokestack. So I'm just clicking on them and then right-clicking the arrow. That's going to engrave pretty well. Now, what I said about the outline, see if I can't grab it. Okay, here it is right here. I'm going to hit it twice. I'm going to move this over. So I'm going to take this and go no outline. But I'm going to take this and make it something thicker than a hairline. So it'll give us a little definition. Well, maybe not even so much in this case. I would strongly maybe, well, it doesn't look too bad. Strongly suggest maybe redrawing this side. But I'm almost going to guarantee that's going to work. And then as far as this, just do the same, you know, same thing. Some of the bigger parts, you could just see if that works, but those are going to burn away. So you're going to have to do kind of what we did on the other one. You know, get these other ones and move them over because they're big enough. See, that's going to fill in. You know, get the biggest part and then delete them. See, that's going to do the same thing. But after you get this done, I think there's enough room here. You could probably do this. Just move this over. And then I would delete everything I have. Let me just finish this real quick. I'm just clicking and right-clicking the arrow. Okay, I forgot to double move it. Move it over, move it over, move it over, move it over. And you know, you might not want the buildings. Just all depends on what this logo is, because you're going to have to do the exact same thing. Some of this stuff is so little, it's just going to burn away. It doesn't really burn away. It's just that lines are just so close on like a Yeti cup. But I mean, if you look at my two now, well, I'll tell you what, let me replace this one. And I'll go ahead and send you this file. And you know, you've already wasted a Yeti cup. Do it on the other side, or do it on a piece of wood, because wood is a, go to object order from the page. Wood is an excellent way to find the stuff that's going to burn away. I think this looks equally as well. You know, it's just some of the things are almost the opposite. But in lieu of completely redrawing it, and like I've got this piece right here, I don't have in that piece that you could put, but since I've moved it now, I can't really do that. Anyway, I hope that helped, and thank you for watching.